is Building Humans, sponsored by Al Mahaba Foundation and Dar al Kalima Publishing.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We are now 14 steps into this journey through Maria Montessori's Education and Peace, and today...
Well, today we are tackling something that might make you look at your university degree,
Oh, definitely.
maybe even your job title a little differently.
It might make you look at it with a bit of suspicion, actually.
Suspicion is putting it lightly. Okay, let's unpack this. The standard assumption, the one I was raised with, the one most is hold, is that education is a ladder.
Right.
You start at the bottom, you climb, you get the degree, the job, and you become an important person. It's just a vertical climb to success.
But that's not what she sees at all. When she looks at our schools, she gives what is essentially a medical diagnosis.
The diagnosis of what?
She doesn't see factories producing leaders. She sees factories producing what she calls mutilated men.
Mutilated. Wow. That is a violent word. It sounds like something has been cut off. It is violent because she sees it as a violence against the human spirit. She argues that while we've made incredible progress in, say, physical hygiene, we stopped the plague, right?
Oh,
We've completely failed in moral hygiene. We are producing a civilization of psychologically incomplete individuals. We're cutting pieces off of ourselves to fit the machine.
A kind of spiritual surgery gone wrong. Okay, so to understand this mutilation, we have to understand the context. She talks about the gap.
Yes.
It feels like the central crisis of the whole book. What is this gap?
It's the fundamental problem of our time. Imagine two lines on a graph. One line is our external world, which he calls supernature.
Supernature.
There's everything we've built, technology, skyscrapers, the internet, a magnificent palace for humanity that requires immense cooperation to run. That line has just shot straight up.
Okay, that's the world we live in. We're conquering nature.
Precisely. But then you look at the second line. That's our internal development, our spirit, our morality, our emotional maturity.
And that line.
It's basically flat. It has stagnated. So you have this huge yawning gap between a Superman world and our caveman spirits. We are spiritually primitive beings walking around in a sophisticated palace.
And a primitive being in a palace usually ends up breaking the furniture.
Or burning the whole palace down.
Yeah.
She has this image. Civilization is like a magnificent palace built on top of a volcano.
Oh, that's good.
The palace is our technology. The volcano is our unresolved primitive nature. We are dangerous because we're out of sync with our own creation.
It's like giving a loaded machine gun to a toddler. The toddler isn't evil, but the gap between his maturity and the weapon's power is catastrophic.
Exactly. And Montessori says the reason we're stuck here, the reason for this gap, is that our education system mutilates us. It breaks our functional unity.
Functional unity. It sounds like an engineering term.
It's biological. A human is designed as a unity of mind and body. The brain plans, the hand does, the hand explores, the brain learns. A feedback loop.
Intelligence feeds action. Action feeds intelligence.
But our education system takes a sharp knife and just cuts that connection.
How does it do that?
She says we produce two types of social deformities. First, you have the men without hands.
Not literally, I assume.
No. She means the intellectuals, the academics, the people with swollen heads full of theory, but who are utterly helpless in the real world. They can't do anything.
They can't fix a faucet.
They can't grow food. They can't build shelter. They're totally dependent. High intellect, zero agency.
I think we all know a few people like that. Brilliant PhD. But you wouldn't want to be stranded on an island with them. They can't open a coconut.
Exactly. And that creates a deep anxiety. If you can't survive without your social status or your money, you're terrified. That's one type of mutilated human. Then you have the other group.
Let me guess. Men without heads.
The manual laborers. The workers. People taught to follow orders. Pull the lever, dig the ditch. Their hands are active, but their minds are suppressed. They're trained not to think.
But hold on. I have to play devil's advocate here. Isn't that just specialization? I mean, civilization relies on a division of labor.
That's the common argument.
Right. If I'm a brain surgeon, I don't need to know how to farm. Why does this matter if the work gets done? Isn't efficiency the goal?
Efficiency is the goal of a machine, not a human life. Montessori argues that when you separate the hand from the mind, you destroy the human personality. You make people insecure.
How so?
If you are a man without hands, you're terrified of the world. If you are a man without heads, you're easily manipulated because you've been trained to just wait for orders.
So neither of them is a whole man?
They're fragments. And a society made of fragments is unstable. It's full of class envy, of fear. The intellectual despises the worker, but depends on him.
And that's a recipe for conflict.
It's a recipe for war.
So if the diagnosis is mutilation, the cure has to be, what, reconstruction?
The cure is the whole man. The mission of her science of peace isn't about treaties. It's about building a human being who bridges that gap, whose intelligence guides their actions, and whose actions then feed their intelligence.
And how do we build this person? You can't just tell a 40-year-old accountant to go build a shed.
No, you have to start from the beginning. And she says education must follow the natural 4 planes of development. We've talked about the early years, but in this chapter, she really zeroes in on the most misunderstood phase.
Adolescence.
The teenager.
Every parent's nightmare, the rebellious phase.
And why are they rebellious? Montessori says it's because we are torturing them.
Torturing them, that's a very strong accusation.
She calls it cruel. And think about it, an adolescent is becoming an adult. They have this massive surge of social energy. They need to prove their worth. They're asking, can I survive? Am I capable?
And what do?
We put them in a small room, force them to sit still for 6 hours, and make them memorize facts about battles from 500 years ago.
We treat them like children.
Exactly. We trap them in a school that's totally cut off from society. They're strong enough to work, but we force them into total dependency. They have to ask permission to go to the bathroom.
Of course they rebel.
The rebellion is the only healthy thing about this situation. It's their spirit trying to survive.
When you put it that way, the troubled teen isn't the problem. The container's just too small.
It is. Her vision for the adolescent is radical. She says they need a school of life. They shouldn't be in a classroom all day. They should be running a hotel or managing a farm.
Real work. You don't mean an internship where they just get coffee.
No, real economic work. She believed adolescents need economic independence. They need to earn money, not to be rich, but to know they can. When a teenager realizes, I can work, I can produce value, I can support myself, their insecurity just deceases.
Yeah.
It vanishes. They don't need to act out. They become calm. They become whole.
It sounds wonderful, but again, I have to push back. This is a common criticism. If we encourage this total individuality, teach me to do it myself, won't society just fall apart?
Right. The chaos argument.
Don't we need obedience to have order? If everyone is a whole man doing their own thing, isn't that just anarchy?
This is the paradox of freedom, and it's where she completely flips our assumptions. We think order has to be imposed from the top down.
Like a general commanding troops.
Yes. But she says, look at nature. Look at the ants and the bees.
Okay, looking at the ants.
Do ants have a boss? Is there some ant general with a whip forcing the others to work?
No, I assume not.
No. Their society functions with incredible complexity because each individual instinctively knows its task and does it independently. The order comes from within, not from above.
So a strong society isn't one where everyone follows orders.
It's one where everyone knows what to do. The text gives us this powerful maxim. Freedom is the necessary foundation of organized society.
Freedom is the foundation of order, not the enemy of it.
Exactly. Think of society like a wall. Traditional education says, let's use weak, crumbling bricks, but we'll use a lot of cement to hold them together. The cement is discipline, police, force.
And eventually the wall just collapses because the bricks are dust.
Right. Montessori says, make each brick, each individual, solid, strong, and self-sufficient. If you have strong bricks, you don't need all that external cement. They will naturally build a strong wall because they choose to cooperate.
True peace comes from strong people choosing to work together.
Not weak people being forced to obey.
That connects right back to what we said before about the dictator at home. If you raise a child only to obey, you're not raising a citizen. You're raising a subject.
You are raising a man without a head, someone waiting for orders. And history shows us what happens when you have a nation full of people just waiting for orders.
A demagogue shows up and gives them those orders.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the stakes here, to war. We talked about the forgotten citizen, the child. If we stop repressing them, if we allow them to grow into these whole men...
What happens to war?
Well, if I'm a whole man, I'm confident. I can think for myself. I know I can survive. It's much harder to convince me that the enemy across the border is a monster I need to kill.
You can't be so easily manipulated.
It's nearly impossible. A whole man has critical thinking, moral independence. He cannot be easily swept up in the mass hysteria that fuels war. War requires fear. It requires a population that feels helpless.
But if you've raised a generation that knows they are capable, they aren't afraid.
They aren't afraid. And so the gap closes.
Wow.
The human personality becomes as developed as our technology. We stop being cavemen with nuclear weapons, and we become, well, fully human. That's the mission. Stop producing employees and start producing builders of civilization.
So for us, for the listeners, what does this mean in our day-to-day
It
lives?
means we have to stop looking at education as just job training. We must stop mutilating our children's spirits for academic success. If your child wants to build something with their hands, let them. If your teenager wants to start a business, don't tell them to go study. That is the study.
That is them becoming whole.
Yes, it's a complete shift. Instead of men without hands or men without heads,
Yeah.
we need the whole person.
And that sets us up for what's next.
It sets the stage perfectly. We've diagnosed the problem, we've outlined the method, but in our next deep dive, episode 15, we are going to reach the spiritual climax of the entire book.
Oh, what's coming?
We're going to discuss her final testament, and we're going to meet a metaphor she uses called the cosmic baker.
The cosmic baker. That sounds mysterious.
It is the ultimate symbol of service and love. It changes how you see every single slice of bread you eat. It's about the hidden human effort that binds us all together.
I can't wait to unpack that. But for today, I want to leave you, the listener, with a question. Look at your own life. Look at your children. Are we raising whole humans? Or are we just perpetuating that split between the mind and the hand? Are we building strong bricks, or are we just piling up dust?
It's a question that might change how you parent tomorrow morning.
If you want to dive deeper into these ideas, and I highly recommend you do get the book, Education and Peace, it is available from our sponsor, Dar El Kalima Publishing. Read this chapter. It's transformative.
It's the blueprint.
Thank you for joining us on this mission to build humans.
Love for all, service for everyone.
Love for all, service for everyone. See you in the next deep dive.